Hey there, just a quick reminder, we have a mentorship program if you're looking for personalized coaching and mentorship to help guide you to the next level of your interior design business, whatever that might look like for you, whether it's processes and procedures or what services to offer to how to incorporate wellness, intention, or spirituality into your projects. Come join us over at designcoven.com/join. Or if you're just in search to connect with other like-minded interior designers, you can join our free community, also located at designcoven.com/join. Hello. I'm so excited for today's episode. We have artist Fay Ray joining us. I am just in love with her work and I can't wait to share it all with you. To give you a little bit of background, Fay Ray is a Los Angeles-based artist who explores the fetishization of objects and construction of female identity through high contrast, monochrome photomontages, and metallic sculpture. Her three-dimensional works, Fay Ray compiles cast aluminum objects, bored volcanic rock, wire, chain, and natural materials into suspended sculptural masses. Conflating worlds of worship and desire, the works across mediums borrow from the symbolism and composition of traditional religious relics and the visual language of the occult. Ray's sculptures and collages hint at the presence of a rematerialized body through a mysterious yet systematic organization of abstract form. Fay Ray, born 1978, Riverside, California, received her BFA from Otis College of Art and Design in 2002 and her MFA from Columbia University in 2005. She has exhibited at galleries within the U.S. and internationally and is currently showing at Ulan Gallery, which is in Solana Beach. The Design Coven will be experiencing her art live and in person on the 20th of August. We are going to have a beautiful tour of Ulan Gallery. And if you're interested in any of that, please feel free to reach out and let me know. I'd love to invite you as part of the tour. And if you have any questions or inquiries, I encourage you to check out Ulan Gallery for Fay Ray's art. And all of those links will be in the show notes. I hope you enjoy our conversation. We get in there, we get pretty deep. We talk about the home life, and then you will also hear little voices in the background because Fay Ray is recording from home. And so we get to experience all of that with her little ones. So it's quite fun. But just wanted to give you a heads up, and I hope you enjoy our conversation. You're listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. This is a podcast that guides you as a new or inspiring independent interior designer navigating your entrepreneurial path. Here, with my over 20 years experience, I will share my holistic approach to design with intention and ancient practices, including Feng Shui, all incorporating mind, body, and spirit into my design projects. You will also learn from seasoned interior designers as they give strategies and insight of how they built their businesses and continue to work in the field. Together, we will discover supportive trade partners, new ideas, creatives, and inspiring artists from around the world. I am your host, Rachel Lorraine Crawford. Welcome back to Bewitching the Home. I have Fay Ray on with us, who is a beautiful artist, and I can't wait to share her story and have her be with us to just share, what she's up to and how she got to where she is. But of course, before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and ring our bell just to connect us with the present moment, anchoring us in to our bodies, connecting to our breath, and of course, lighting a candle, just igniting sparks and flames for creation, creativity, one of my favorite elements ever. And we've got our Mithras candle here, so 100% beeswax, nice clean burn. And then we're going to pull a tarot card, one of my favorite things to do, just connecting us with our intuition or higher selves to see if there's any messages or words of wisdom for this morning's session. The cards I'm pulling from are Angela Mary Magic's Moon BB Magic Tarot deck. She's in Huntington Beach. She's super rad. All right, Angela, let's see what card you're gonna give us today. We have the Four of Waves, and the word here is fulfillment. This is otherwise known as the Four of Cups. And whenever I get this card, it's always a reminder that we have everything that we need. Our cups are full, and it's like the universe just keeps handing us more cups. And we kind of get stuck in our spaces of like just filling up, or like just that muck feeling, right? And not really being aware of what's around us. So whenever I get that feeling or pull this card, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not like so bad off. Like there's something to be cherished. I have things in front of me that I can really dive into. And it's also the card of like, look for the opportunity. There's always opportunity being handed to us at any given moment. So it's like, what's the opportunity that I can take right now to help me get out of this funk? For sure.
I like it. Four of Waves, feeling it. It feels like it's a good companion card to what we were talking about earlier when you said the thing about having so many cups. Like the universe just keeps handing you cups. It's like it doesn't like keep them empty or fill them up. Like you do that part, but they just like kind of hand you cups.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've got like, in the double digits at least.
Yeah, and it's like, what do we do with those cups?
Nice. That's a nice card.
And speaking of cups, what's in your cup? Do you have anything that you're nourishing yourself with, or do you enjoy something in particular?
I am nourishing myself with a vessel that says Mama on it a bunch of times. That I bought for myself.
That's awesome.
At Marshall's for Mother's Day. And it has 1/5 cup of coffee in it that's cold. And I am so grateful for it.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm sarcastic about it with my husband because he has like 5 or 6, best daddy ever mugs or whatever. I use his because I don't have any of my own. But to me, it's like one of those buying that cup. Consciously, I'm not thinking about this, but because we're having this moment with what we're nourishing ourselves with, it reminds me, it's symbolic to me of that moment in my late 30s where I realized like, the surprise party with everybody like that and like in the special town with the perfect food and all that stuff, that doesn't exist. Like there's nobody that's going to pop out of the bushes and bring that to you. Like that's something you design yourself.
Heck yeah.
So this is my like surprise party with all the best food and people that I just, you know what I mean? It's like the little things that we do every single day for like, I don't know. It's like none of this just happens. You have to create it. You have to create it. So if I was like, I don't even know for how many months I'd like use the best daddy ever cup before I was just like, can I just buy myself my cup?
Right?
Yeah, I can.
I know.
Okay, that's it.
Exactly.
That's what I'm nourishing myself with.
I love it. And I love that you have cold coffee and it's just a little bit at the bottom, because I feel like as moms, we get used to that cold coffee and we still enjoy it. We're still like,
oh gosh. I know, but you know what? This cup of coffee was made for me by my husband who got up first. I woke up 30 minutes ago. Like, I got 3 kids. I don't know anybody. He's working today. He's been working for the past 10 days. I am lucky.
Wow.
That little bit of coffee is gift. So
it is. It's liquid gold.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
I also have coffee, but I've been adding the smoka mushroom powder from Fun Earth Co. Into it because it's giving me that immune support, but it also helps me stay focused and concentrated. And I feel like once I have that, I'm like, okay, I can otherwise I feel scattered and like all over the place. And, I have a million things happening.
I'm going to write that down because also I just love those two thoughts together. I would never in my wildest dreams put those two thoughts or two flavors or two like energies together,
Yeah.
mocha mushroom. So cute.
It is, but it's a nice combination. It does have a little bit of a grounding to it, but it tastes like mocha and chocolate, and it's really yummy.
I want that.
Yeah,
Especially if you can just scoop it and chuck it in.
it is.
Like
It's great.
it's not
I
like
just
white on special breath or something.
no, no,
And
no. It's
like,
powder. So, and you can even just do it like with a milk or oat milk or something, and just mix it up, and it's
ooh,
easy.
oh my gosh, I want it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. It's fantastic. So, tell me, what is home for you right now? What does that look like, or what does it mean to you at the moment?
Home is, it's like somebody asking you after the pandemic, how are you? You know, like, wow, okay, home is a space that we're growing out of really fast. It's very, very dense in here. The energy is dense, it's thick, it's good and thick, it's warm and thick, and it's full of potential. And there's a lot, like, there's a big growth moment coming up for our family in the next year, I'd say. Um, it doesn't align with the housing market, but that's okay. I mean, it's okay. You can, that's kind of a part of it that I think is what's holding us most back, is that like, oh, okay, of course we're gonna sell our house when it's not a great time
Yeah.
to sell your house. It's our time, and therefore it's great.
Yeah.
And it's a place where my husband works for full time. It's a place where I work full time. I have 3 children. I have a 3 and 2. My baby's in my bedroom with me in her crib, but not through the night. And my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old live in their own room together in a bunk bed. And my husband does work out of the 3rd bedroom. And there's a Peloton in there that he's had for 2 weeks. New. But that he's used once. And I see that as a trend. We refinished my garage, which is adjacent to our home. I mean, I'm going to paint a whole picture here.
Yeah.
You tell
I
me
love
if
it.
this.
I love it.
Okay, all right. I'm a single level. I'm one house from a boulevard, which is not ideal, which is part of the reason why we're trying to find something else, even if it's just up the street,
Yeah.
like just a little further off of the main drag. And I have an adjacent garage, like I was saying. That right when we moved in, we were finished. It was the first thing that we did because we knew we would be having children, and I knew that I, wanted to continue my art practice. And so that's where we put our money and time. That in the yard, where we're just like, okay, the rest we get by with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's full on. It's full on. I have one car. It's a minivan.
Yeah.
That's a big part of my life. Driving always has been. I love driving. Having a comfortable car is really important. And a roomy car. We have a Honda Odyssey that I love, and I've been dreaming about since I started to even imagine myself with children.
Yeah.
I imagined myself with children in the car, and that's kind of a fun manifestation moment.
It's
I was
so
like,
cool.
it's funny because I'm gonna be driving and be like, I guess I could have picked like a Porsche something or other 20 years ago. I might be sitting in that now. I don't know.
It's so fantastic.
But this is what I picked, and this is what I picked, and here I am, and I am enjoying it.
So great. Oh my gosh. I absolutely love that, because we get to these points, well, at least I do, I can speak for myself, is where I'm always like dreaming and trying to visualize the next thing. And, I'm like, 10 steps ahead, and it's like, well, hold on. Like, remember when you dreamt about this moment when you had like this?
Yeah.
And I love that you're so connected with that, and you do it. It seems like you do it all the time.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time. I mean, my practice of being in this moment right now is something that was forced on me through trauma early on. And because of my set of circumstances, I was given opportunities to turn that around. I was given help to turn that around and turn it into something nutritive. And it's beyond opportunity too. It's like ancestry, it's angels, it's a lot of stuff. So I am always thinking backwards and forwards, and those are those two realms of energy are siphoning into this moment all the time. I have to stay on top of those thoughts. Like, good thoughts are not something that have ever come easy for me. I fight for them. I found ways to make that, to connect to those positive thoughts, positive energies, like, easier. And one is laughter, and the second is gratitude. Like, I just am somebody who, like, there's a couple words that I do not like, and I'll explore that with my therapist. And one of them is happiness, and one of them is balance. Like, or luck. That's the third one. Luck, balance, happiness. I do not relate to any of those. Or perfection. Like, luck, balance, happiness, perfection. I think that's 4, and I think that I don't like even numbers either. So I'm going to really try and think of a 5th, or take one of those off. But those are this, like, ideas that I don't believe in. I feel like they're limiting, and they're stifling, and they're inhumane almost. I get asked a lot, like, how do you do it all? And I was like, well, I'm either being a bad parent or a bad artist, and I just pick one of the two, whatever I can live with at the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm with my kids, I'm not in my studio. When I'm in my studio, I'm not with my kids. No time, but you know what? Like, sometimes I am in the studio with my kids, and that's how I know I'm on my right path. When they can come in and come out and see what I'm doing. Like, my kids can touch what I do. My kids can be there. Like, I did a little market. A friend of mine who's an artist, her name is Alika Cooper. She's the one that introduced me to Eric at the gallery, and she's just a dynamic artist and human being. She's really creative in multiple mediums, one of which is gardening and landscape work. And so she started these markets in her like back area of her house, where she was bringing people together, that because she's got such a long and deeply connected history with the art world, it's like artists that also do something related to plants. And so I got connected with her years ago, and I was doing ceramics and making vases, and she was like, that counts. And I'm like, okay, I'll come. Like, you know, I just want to see my friends, because 2 years ago we were in the thick of it. So I was doing this little market, and my husband and I were doing the thing where, like, okay, how do we do all the kids? Like, are you going to keep them for how long, and who takes the car and whatever? And I was like, you know, I can take one of them with me, like my 2 old kids. And just like knowing that they can sit there right next to me if they wanted to, and if it was important for my husband to like maybe have fewer for one reason or other, like, the cosmic cost I pay for choosing to be an artist in that moment, totally worth it. You know, when I am struggling every day to like my husband's been like on a 10-day 14-hour day job, which is a bit crazy. Fortunately, he does it from home, like, thank goodness. But like, I need like 1 or 2 hours a day in my studio. I just need to be in there farting around with something. And sometimes I'll be in there, and like the first 15 minutes will go by, and a little door knock happens, and there's a little person there, and she wants to do clay with me. And amazing. Like, I want to chase her out with broomstick, but I can't. Get out of here. This is right. I was like, this is what makes them, and this is why it was so important to have children for me. It's because, like, I need to be humbled. I need patience. I need to be taught patience. I need to be taught chill. I need to be taught, like, grace. That's what, like, the biggest lesson I think my children teach me is grace.
They're huge teachers. These little people.
They are teachers. They're just these, I don't know, they're just like so bizarre little life forms. I literally look at them like life forms sometimes. like my youngest is 1, and I hold her sometimes, and I'm like, "Oh, you're just like a little baby. Like you're just a little squishy baby. Like you're just a little, almost like a toy,
Yeah.
almost like a little teddy bear." Because I can like be their mom, and I can also just like bounce out of that and look at them for their little bodies and their little fingers and their little cheeks, and just be like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm alive in this moment where I can behold this."
Yeah.
And I don't know. Anyway, so home for
So
me is just
special.
like a teeming pot of like everything. It
Mhm.
is like it's like a hot, crazy, warm, scratchy, wet, dry
Yeah.
stew. But
Everything.
it's yeah,
So
it's really
good.
it's truly everything.
So
Yeah,
good.
I did this show 2 years ago called I Am the House, and it was very much about thinking about this theme of where we live, where we originate, like the female role in that, the female power in that. And um it's interesting think like as my kids get older, thinking about how they are seeing themselves separately from me,
Yeah.
and how there's a big conversation in myself and in my studio as to how I am going to see myself separately from my role in the family too. There's a pull in that respect, like not coming from me, coming from the outside world,
Yeah.
coming from the art world, coming from the world of culture, the world of patriarchy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, how am I going to I don't want to fight patriarchy. I
Right.
don't want to fight. You know what I mean? I just don't want to fight.
Yeah, of
I just
course.
I want to do what I can to change what I can,
Mhm.
and hopefully have some peace with that. I'm 43. I have 3 children. I had them late. Not late, but I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I definitely know people that have had kids much sooner who are in a different position than I am right now. I feel like there's, because of the way that the choices I've made, and when I decided to have my children, and the kind of art I decided to practice, and like basically the choices I made for career and
Right.
family a long time ago are yielding this bloom that is weird and I didn't
Mhm.
expect, and it's not an easy one. It's a kind of a hard one, um, where uh, I have got to figure out, like, I'm in my 40s, like historically this is where we like, I mean, women already aren't very present in the art world. Not nearly. There's no like there's just no equity there. So I have a friend who is not involved in the art world, and she came across an article about a curator whom was fired for not not creating an exhibition that was inclusive enough for the institution,
Mm.
recently. And she's one of these types of people that believe in, it's like, do it yourself,
Right.
no handouts, and don't, what's the word, like, anti-affirmative action kind of
Okay.
perspective or whatever. Um, and I was like, you realize that if that institution did nothing but shows of people of color for the next 50 years, it would barely right the wrong of the last 100 years. Like
Yeah.
barely. Like if you did nothing but like women of color, mothers of color, for
Mm.
just, you could do it for 100 years, every institution
Forever.
on earth. You know what I mean? And then we're kind of getting close. You know what I mean? It's like she thought it was just like, oh, who's like, how dare they like expect that
Yeah.
of this guy, and like that's such bullshit. Like, isn't this? I mean, it's also just
Yeah.
like people just not understanding that our world isn't about a meritocracy, also either. So anyway, that's my little. I've got some feelings about some stuff.
Yeah,
Actually.
absolutely, absolutely, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that you show up here as a mom and of color and just, like, letting all of it out and sharing. And I think that's so important. And
Yeah, well, thank you for giving me a platform to do that, and thank you for asking me questions about myself. Like, I agreed to do the podcast because I was like, "Oh, okay, that sounds like fun." I love conversation. I love
yeah,
conversation. Like, I love conversation so much, and I have conversational standards, and you're reminding me that I do because I'm like, "Oh my god, my standards are being met." Like, since when? Like, this has been a long
yay.
time. I've had a good conversation and a reciprocal conversation
Hmm.
where you're asking questions and you're feeding answers and the ball is moving, across the table at a good pitch. So
Yay.
yeah,
I love it.
you do this professionally, I guess. Good
You
for you.
love it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know how you got into this art world and like what propelled this and where did you get the inspiration and where did you get the how did you become empowered and feel like you can do this? Because I feel like our dreams get squashed so easily, especially when it comes to art or when it comes to
See?
yeah.
See?
Oh,
Look at
look
that.
at your little
A
coffee
whole
angel.
big, like, meaty masculine hand just came in here and
Oh
handed
my
me
God.
a
You
special
just got
copy.
the
Yeah.
four ways with that handout of the cup.
Your husband. You know what? I'm gonna say, like, my mom the other day, she said, "You're such a better mother than I was." And I was like, "No, I'm not. I just have a better husband.
Yeah.
Like, I have a much better husband."
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I mean, that's why I get to do what I do. Is because I have
Yeah,
my husband. I mean,
yeah.
there's no way I could do this without him. There's
Period.
absolutely no way.
Period.
Yeah.
No way. No,
Yeah.
no way. Like, mm-mm. Anyway, I'm getting the clamps. I just love him so much. He's so important.
Oh, that's so
Okay, so you were
beautiful.
saying
So I was
how I
asking you
became
how
a
you got how'd you get into the art world? How did you break through, like, feeling empowered and having that momentum to just do it? Where I was just talking about, we get so crushed at times when it comes to, like I speak to people a lot about, like, what are your dreams and how did and they get squished. And some of us, aren't resilient and they kind of go into this path or this career. And then later on, like even just in my mentorship, I've got people that are doing midlife career change, second career change. And they're like, you know what? I went this one path and my heart is in design and it got squished so long ago. And now I'm doing this for me. Like my kids are gone. Like I get to do this for me. And so I want to know like how you were able to keep following that dream and not having it stop you or anyone stopping you. I feel like maybe there's something there. I don't
yeah.
know. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh gosh. No, I mean, look, I have great human parents that were good and bad, and or had good and bad moments and opportunities of parenting, I should say. Like in my house, we don't talk about goodness and badness in
Mm,
polls. Like we talk about there are like, that's what I say to my kids, there are no good or bad people, there are good and bad choices. I mean,
yeah.
and we're always making one or the other, so we're like, but there all that to say, there wasn't anybody encouraging me to like pursue an art career. So growing up, I was one of two kids, and my father was a truck driver and my mother worked at a bank. And we um, didn't go to museums. We went to libraries, but the art world couldn't have been further from my grasp or reach. And it was a path that from day one I kind of always had to fight for. I had to be
Yeah.
kind of good at, and if I liked that attention, I had to figure out a way to keep that going.
Mhm.
So it wasn't. I mean, I did come from a place where, as long as I was staying out of trouble and not causing my parents a lot of extra stress, I was going to be supported emotionally from them to do what I wanted to do. Not to say that like my parents were totally thrilled when I was going to wanted to go to art school. I think they wanted me to have different business ambitions, but just a little magical, whatever combination it was of my relationship to them and how I saw myself within the family and sort of autonomous from the family too, because
Yeah.
certain things happen in life that I kind of like created a little, there was like some stuff that happened growing up that made me create some distance from them too. And also just
Yeah.
like I have to separate myself a little bit here to preserve myself. um just that combination kind of set me on this path. Now, like, I will say this, that there are, and it's, I've bet it's in almost every industry except for probably like neuroscience,
Okay.
where the most talented people are not in the art world. like, like, you know what I mean? The people that should be here aren't necessarily the ones
Mm.
here. I mean, it's the people that should be here are here.
Right, right,
And we'll
right.
say, and it has nothing to do with any singular, there's no singular root of it. Like, I used to work for an artist named John Baldessari, and he was in his 80s, and he would tell me things like, it takes more than talent. He spent a lot of time as a teacher,
Okay.
and he said, I saw so many talented artists go do something else. He's like,
Crazy.
maybe even the most talented artist went and did something else. He's like, you have to have a, it's like you want to you want to participate in the creative practice, but the business side of that is real gnarly. It's real
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
You're still having to contort, and you're still trying, like, having to like make yourself kind of small at times, and having to force yourself to be big, much the same way that happens to people when they're in other careers for a while. It's like, I don't know, I want to relate to the people in your program, but for me, it's like, I also was never afraid to be poor. I was never afraid to like lose it all. I was never afraid to
Yeah.
not have anything. I didn't feel like I had anything. And I was
Yeah.
just like, it was all up from where I came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And going back, not scary. Like, I have beautiful example. Like, my grandparents are such beautiful people, and they have such modest lives, and they are full of grace, and they are full of beauty, and they exude satisfaction in
Yeah.
the simplest things, and having those examples, like, and also they've seen dark, deep, tragic moments.
Yeah.
And like, I think when you, I don't know, I don't know, I think I'm getting off track, but
No, you're not. It's so funny that you're talking about this, because this is reminding me of a conversation that I had with another artist, my friend Daniel Boron Corrales, and I'll have to look up his episode. But we had the same, so you guys are talking in the same sort of vein. And this is where we connected as well, coming from the situation of not having money and not having anything. And because of that, and I'm in that same path, I was talking to him when I came to San Diego, we lived in a shelter. Like, we didn't have a place to live. And when you come from a place where you have nothing, you get to risk all of it, and it doesn't matter. It's like,
oh yeah,
we're like, oh shit, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to jump off that cliff. We don't, you know what I mean? It's like, there's something about it.
Yeah.
That
Let them take everything away. Let them take everything
amazing.
away. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
amazing.
I'll build it back. I'll come back with something else.
It's like, I've done this before. I know how to rebuild.
Yeah.
You can take all of it, and it won't keep me from not doing it again, or making something bigger, making something better,
Right. Right. I think there's a lot of ways for people to have more of a launch pad to do better also, and
absolutely.
to have an easier time, and to have a longer experience, in my field at least, and I have a more nutritive and balanced experience in terms of, like, you get back something closer to what you give, a reciprocal there, not balance, a reciprocal experience, because a lot of times I'm making it for myself, I get to have beautiful, shiny moments like this where by some miracle, somebody has seen something I've done, thought it worthy of giving it a public platform, and here I am talking to you. Those magic things happen, but I always say this to myself, like, and I say this to students when I get an opportunity to speak to students, is that, like, it really isn't about, I mean, it is about where you're going, 100%. You gotta
sure.
you gotta be motivated, you gotta be goal oriented, you gotta be ambitious, all those things. But you'll get to your destination if you can stop, like skid to a stop, and be where you're at right now, and be happy with what's going on now. Like, are you happy that you're in school and that you are in an art school and that you are painting, and you have roommates, and your family is where they're at, and all the things? Like, are you happy with that? Like, does all that jive right now? Because if it does, then you're just like, okay, goals. Am I happy where I'm at right now? Yeah. Am I doing enough? Yeah. Am I, or no, I need to do, okay. All right. You make little adjustments, but you just check in constantly. Like, checking in with yourself is, I think, the key to longevity. If you're there's this other thing too, which is that, like, if I was at a talk of a brilliant motivational speaker, if like that's a really, I think that's like a small box for this woman. Her name is Anna David. She's bigger than that. She gave a talk to these artists, and I happened to be lucky to be one of them. And I was talking to her afterwards, thanking her. Many of us were. And there was a younger artist who came up to her while I was speaking with her. And she's like, yeah, sometimes I just don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing it for. And I don't know if I should continue to go on. And I always think this. I always think, if you're not meant to, the fangs will retract and you will be released. You know what I mean? Like, you don't necessarily choose when that moment is, because, like, you're on a wave. You know what I mean? You can't just jump off when it doesn't feel right, or stay on because it feels good. Like, there's not like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a cosmic energy that will release you if it's not really meant for you, I believe. A certain combination of good things and bad will happen, and you'll be where you're at when you're there. That we don't get to control. So, like, for me right now, I am an artist. I am a Mexican woman with 3 kids. I'm married. I am a wife. I'm a mama to 3, and I want to continue to have an art practice. But as a 43-year-old woman with a family, I want to be able to contribute more financially to my household, because we're growing. And I've had moments where I've been able to really be a contributor, but those moments have been very inconsistent, and I want more consistency in that respect. And so therefore I have started a ceramics business where I can be more in control of what I share with the world. In the art world, you cannot call your own work good. That's part of it.
You
like,
don't
as soon as you're calling your like somebody else has to do that for you. Like, step 1. Someone else has it good. Step 1 is like showing it to somebody. Step 2 is finding somebody that thinks it's good. In this business I've started for myself on the side, I guess.
Side hustle.
Or alongside, I should say, alongside my studio practice, I'm able to advertise for myself, write my own, whatever, like, call it good, promote myself, and
Yeah.
it's culturally more accepted to do that. And I have always thought about starting my own sort of functional um, production of some product, something at some point. I think it was I had to come to the point where I'm done having children, and the house feels small, and I
Mm.
feel more of my time being returned to me as my kids grow and have more
Yeah.
agency. And there's a brewing energy and a like dynamic power that's coming out of those tensions.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that like making this business is okay. So I make art, I make sculpture. I'm 43. I'm not some breakout sculpture star. I'm a person that has had to like really over the years, almost like building a stone. It feels like
Hmm.
shave back material, add more. Like this is like something that my work is something that has come from a hard forging of additive and subtractive processes for many years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I love that. I am so proud of my work. I'm so proud of it. I I just I can't. Sometimes I look at my work and I can't believe it came out of my garage. Like I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it. Like it came out of me, and I am able to get to be a good parent to my kids, and I think everybody's pretty happy with the job I'm doing on that side, and yet I'm still able
Hmm.
to make shows. Like I'm feeling myself, and
Yeah.
and it's hard, and you have to just be. It's humbling. It's hard, but
Hmm.
I can always find an adjustment to create
Yeah.
to help me create a little bit, like to help me find some grease somewhere, like so the
Absolutely.
sculpture part, like it's been so fortunate to work with Eric at Oolong, and to be received so well in that community, in his growing
Yeah.
community, because he's a new gallery. But like there's like years sometimes where there is no grease, there is no traction, there is
Wow.
like you're almost, you know you feel invisible. um and if you don't have tools, if you don't have a
Right.
network, if you don't have community, your practice will be starved, and it will end. um so you have to find ways to create your own grease. Like you can't get a curator to
Absolutely.
your studio, have your friend come over.
Yeah.
You need conversation, you develop something, you need to work on something, you need input. Like, you lean on your network of friends from your school. So your students, like
Yeah.
they're like part of what they're getting in exchange for participating is the network. Like
Yep.
some of these people, and probably not everybody, but some of them will continue on in this field, and that'll be a connection for them for many, many years. Like you have to be a good
Absolutely.
citizen of your field too. Like I have got to put on shows. I have to give people opportunities
Right.
if I'm expecting them to come my way. You know what I mean? It's not direct, but
Hmm.
you you cannot complain that you do not have agency or access or opportunity in at least my field, and not be somebody that has never created an opportunity for somebody else.
Absolutely. It's an ecosystem.
Oh,
It's that giving and
completely,
taking and yeah.
completely. Like, if you want to be a sculptor, if you want to be a mom, if you want to be in LA, if you want to be, if you want to be those things, you know what I mean? Because I can't think of one artist that's doing that, that doesn't have to do that in my community, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that has a life that looks like mine. I can't, like,
Right.
um, when I moved into my house, I made a very like, and I know this now. I don't think I quite understood that in my 20s when I was in school with my classmates and things.
Right.
Like, I wish I did, because um, I would have been more kind to myself, and I would have been more
Mm,
kind to them. Like, even though I wasn't like a meanie, but
yeah.
I was like young, and I could have been more of an ear, and I could have been more of a help to the people around me, instead of like being so focused on what I was doing. You know what I mean? I could have
Yeah.
offered more of myself, I think, to my classmates, and even to my teachers, I will say. But
Yeah.
there's
And I think
um,
that's, part of being of that age, right? Sometimes you're
yes,
just not aware.
yes. Well, when I moved in here, I made an effort to learn and meet and introduce myself to all my neighbors and write all their names down. And every
Mm.
time I see them, use their name. You know what I mean? It's like little things like that that make such a difference. It makes such a difference. It makes such a difference.
Yeah, well, I want to dive into, you're talking about this community and connecting with Eric, and I want to know, how did that come about? How did you guys get connected? I know you said you were introduced through a friend. Like,
Yes.
what does that look like, and how did you get
Okay.
discovered and picked up and put into, this beautiful show, and I just want to know, like, what that interact. I love relationships and
Okay.
connections.
Yes.
I'm curious about
It's very important,
all that.
right? Because, and also, look, there aren't a lot of interior designers that are able to incorporate art into a creative vision that I think supports the goals of the client. Um, because I think clients will probably come in with their own art that maybe they aren't even able to see, doesn't will disturb the essence or the spirit they're trying to create. Like, I don't know if
Hmm.
like people see. Okay, so all that to say that I think you have to, just like becoming an artist, you kind of have to teach. You have to create viewers of art too. Like, you have to learn how to
Absolutely.
see art. Like, you have to develop an eye and a sensitivity to it, because it's not like there aren't a lot of pieces that are in the world that will give you a gut reaction. I don't know how to say this in a clear way, in a succinct way, but like, if you are a person that can quiet their mental the mental chatter, and like find a quiet, like, okay, there's a couple tricks to this though. Okay,
Okay.
can we do a part two, because I've got
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so many tips for
yeah.
this.
We should totally do a part two.
Yeah, there's ways of doing this, and there's ways of teaching, I think, people how to see, because I've been
Okay.
taught how to see, because I still have moments where I'm just like, art is bullshit. Like, and I don't even know I don't know why anybody buys into any of this crapola, because it ain't a stack of 20s. Like, what is this? You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, ugh. And I see you,
Yeah.
that we will all see more art that we do not like than that we do like.
Right.
That's just the way it is. But
It's just how
okay,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I have children, and I'm trying to teach them how to see, and I'm realizing that I'm leaning on lessons I learned that I don't even know if I was conscious of at the time. Um,
Mm.
for instance, when I had one of my very first art teachers took us to a museum, and it was full of all these great things, and I hadn't had a lot of experience in museums, and she said, "Look, don't get overwhelmed. Pick one thing that you like just one. Look at everything. Like, you're gonna see a lot of it, but just pick one. Like, try and find the one that you want to take home with you,
Yeah.
because you're gonna forget stuff."
Yeah.
And it was just that reminder, like, let's just find one thing that we like,
Mm.
and hold on to that, and chew on that for a while. Let's savor this. Like, find one to give something
Yeah.
to, give extra energy to. Like, you don't have to like everything. Like, I didn't know how to walk into a museum and not take, like, be clobbered, or a gallery
Yeah.
and be
It's
clobbered
overwhelming.
with right. And um if you make a connection with one piece, that's good, and that's a win, and that's a step forward. And in learning your taste, in learning what you connect with. And then you go to more
Yeah.
museums and you do the same thing and you start to build this constellation of aesthetics. And you can look at them all together and add it up and be like, what is this? What is this like? What do these things have in common? What
Yeah.
makes them different from all the other art I saw or all the other art that's out there? um and then you can like tweak and you can like who is this artist?
Yeah.
Go see more, and you'll be like, oh, that was a one-off, like that artist really. Or and sometimes they'll be like, yeah, it was about potatoes, and you're like, I thought it was about
Yeah.
pears. Those aren't pears, those are potatoes. Well, shit, now I can't look at that again and not see potatoes because I'm a pear person.
Right.
Like, yeah, there's stuff that'll, when you meet artists that they're possibly gonna say something that's gonna turn you off to the thing,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
okay too. But anyway, yeah, it's like my baby's nap time, and my husband has to start
Yeah.
work. But
I know we need to, we'll
Rachel,
wrap
I'm
it up.
sorry.
But okay, so
I hope I
no, you're
ruined
good.
it.
We'll have to do a part 2. So your art right now is being shown at Oolong Gallery
Mhm,
here in Solana Beach.
mhm.
So we can take a look at that in person, which I strongly suggest everybody
Me
do. Of course,
too.
we'll share. Yeah, it's incredible, incredible.
Thank you.
And then I would also love to know what's your Instagram so that people can follow
Mhm.
you for your art.
Okay.
And then also, how can we find your ceramics
Okay.
now that you've got that up and going?
Yes, my art on my Instagram is Fay Ray Studio, FayRayStudio. And the ceramics is Fay Ray Clay, FayRayClay. And I got a website that I'm having like a spiritual block to the to the website launching. It's
So it's
all
like,
there. I just
it's okay. It'll be in the show notes.
yeah. It'll definitely be up this month. I've got like one more therapy appointment to talk out a few fears
Hmm.
with like success and visibility and disappointment. Then I think I'll be in a good
Yeah.
place to share that. But in the meantime, yeah, I try and I post there a lot. That work
Perfect.
gets made faster than the studio work. But yeah, you can follow either one of those too.
Beautiful.
So thank
Thank
you
you so much for taking the time. I know
for
how
having
special
me.
family time is, and yeah, absolutely. We'll
Yeah.
do a part 2. So stay tuned for more Fay
um,
Ray because we had a beautiful conversation today.
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank you so much, Rachel. And I am like desperate to meet you in person. I love everything that you're involved in. I think that you're dynamic for bringing so many awesome things together that in such a unique way. And these are all things that I'm really interested in too, like space and building energy and complementing your vision. Yeah, there she is. All right.
So
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah. Yeah. She needs a nappy.
Oh, yeah,
Okay. Anyway, but I really hope we get to meet in person.
absolutely. I can't wait.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Have a nice nap. I'm so
Oh, yeah.
jealous. I want to nap.
Thank you. Okay.
All
Bye.
right. Bye. You've been listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business podcast. If it's one that you have been enjoying, please share with anyone else that you think can benefit from this knowledge. And leave us a 5-star review that helps us get seen and found by other new and aspiring interior designers. And if you're looking for mentorship, I invite you to join our club here at the Design Coven. It's a bridge between school and real life interior design. We get in much deeper there. We have virtual and in-person events. So everyone is welcome. You don't need to have a design degree to be part of it, just an interest in holistic interior design. I also want to thank our editor, Marcy Ferry, and lastly, Kinseth Thibodeau, who is our music composer. Until next time, be well, and we will see each other soon.